Okay, let me see how it works. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Already a very completed introduction, so I don't need to say much. It is really an honor, a pleasure, and of course with a lot of excitement to be here among the speakers and also the audience. Thank you very much for having me here today. A lot of people put a lot of efforts trying to have me here. I would like to share with you some of our projects we did particularly in Bangkok for our discussion on future needs and how people would work and live, trying to be relevant to tomorrow's city, but actually it is happening now. Some of you might be familiar with an image of Thailand and Bangkok as popular tourist destinations, magnificent temples, exotic floating markets, although completely artificial nowadays. Also very entertaining elephant or other animal show, or even delicious Thai food. This is our stereotype, basically, people looking for when they come to Bangkok. But it is not all. It's just part of the how we live. But nothing wrong with that. I like them. But the real Bangkok is more like this. Last night we had this conversation. People asked me, how many people living in Bangkok? I thought it was about 12 million, including all the whole metropolitan area of 7,000 square kilometers. But actually, this morning I checked, it was 13 million. So it's not that easy to operate as a city. And it is like many other big metropolis, it is struggling with a lot of issues. Traffic jams, days like this is quite common, or even night like this is not far from our everyday scenes. Also, being very close to the sea, flood is extremely regular. After a few hours of rains, basically. Part of the city could be flooded, and not to mention traffic jam is getting even worse. With this condition of climate change that would make the sea level rising every year, and the amount of rainwater we got is higher and higher. Also, the land is pretty much sinking. The urban area is expanding. Actually, the city is pretty far from being resilient, we can say. Even though lots of researchers have been warning, it's still a very problematic issue. And the image show that this was when the city was hit extremely hard in 2011 with the floods. The whole city was mostly covered with water. They just tried to save the most inner area where all the businesses are. And some of the community housing in the very far suburb were cut off for months, living in this condition. A lot of people actually died because they didn't want to leave the place, and they got contagious by disease from water, and this is how it happened. And they had to try to adapt with the very high level of water, trying to survive using boat instead of cars. This is how it is in Bangkok. It's not that bad. I mean, it's bad, but it's not that bad. You can still live. Now you might start to wonder, but there's no urban planning. There's no nobody doing anything. But there are a lot of effort trying to plan the city to make it better. But it's never fast enough with the expansion of the city and the number of the population that growing every day. So many of the solutions in the city, interestingly, are solved by self-initiated actions. This is one of the things that I thought was extremely smart. It is called motorcycle taxi. Among many examples, it happened organically out of the pure necessity that it was impossible to move around the city with this kind of traffic. So people just invented this, trying to use motorbike as a means to go around. And finally, the government had to regulate the system, registering them as a normal taxi. Now every single motorbike taxi has a registration, has a number. So it was, but it was out of purely self-initiated kind of action. So that was how it works in Bangkok and in many parts of Thailand, that the government or the top-down system would be too slow to cope with the real need of the people. And this is general view of Bangkok, full of high-rise building, scattering around without much of the zoning, or the zoning would arrive too late. It was already built up like this. Even in the center looks quite dense. We still have a very serious housing problem. All these high-rise buildings, they are expensive apartment condominiums partly for investment. Not so many people live there, or you have to be extremely rich to be there. Normal people would be pushed to live in the suburb. When I say suburb, it's not, we have to fine-tune the word suburb a little bit. When I arrived yesterday, I talked to a taxi driver. He said that suburb is 4 kilometers away. For me, this is not suburb at all. When I say suburb, it's 20-something kilometers away from the center at least. And a lot of people who work in the city, the center of Bangkok, could live 20, 30, 40 kilometers away from the city. And every day they have to commute hours, 2 hours, 3 hours, if you're lucky. But if it's raining, you could expect more. And this is how they have to fight every day. So also there were, of course, a lot of informal settlements like this for low-income people. Also illegally or partly illegal, they are in the city, and they are very crucial labor force of the city. Okay, but the difficulty is for a middle class like me. If I want to live in the city, it's not so easy if I don't have $1-2 million to buy a condo. So I tried to find a solution. 12 years ago, I started my practice as an architect out of, again, necessity, trying to understand if there is an alternative way to live in the city for a middle class like myself. Through a kind of investigation and experiment with a shop house, which is an outdated typology building in the city. So you can see this, you have a big condominium here next to very rundown kind of building called shop house. What is shop house? It is actually an urban architecture typology brought to Thailand, to Bangkok, from Singapore in the mid-19th century as a key type of architecture for urbanization. They would build streets and then build this kind of shop house, mainly for Chinese immigrants. The idea is one family would live in a small slice of building. The ground level is a commercial activity or work, we can say, and then the upper level is living. So the organization would be more or less like this. You get from the front, very narrow, and then on the back is there's no entrance. It's just toilet, stair, and service area. And it became the most common urban architecture in Thailand and Bangkok. Wherever you go, if you see a shop house, it's a kind of synonym for an urban area. You arrive to a town. And throughout these years, it developed from just 2-story into 4, 5, 6-story. And before the invention of shopping malls and department store, usually most of the commercial activity would happen on the ground level of this building. As I said, 12 years ago, because of the outdated structure, lifestyle of people changed. Nobody shop in small places anymore. They would go mainly to shopping malls or department store. The traffic became nightmare, so it was impossible to park along the street to buy little things from these shop houses. So they became kind of abandoned. I found many of these shop houses in the center of the city, partly abandoned, partly not completely utilized. Mostly the upper level were not in use because if you have a commercial activity and you wanted to rent for other people on the upper level, it was a bit difficult. So you could rent or could buy this kind of shop houses, even really in the middle of the city, relatively cheap. So that's how I started. I started to rent one of these shop houses to understand, to live there, to live and to work. I didn't even have an office by then, but out of curiosity and trying to understand how it would be to live there and why people don't live there anymore, I rent one of these and I start to live. And I found a lot of interesting issues, and as an architect, I start to think, if I have to improve this, how do I do? 2 years after, I found a place, a shop house, 2 units of shop house in a very nice area of Bangkok, reasonable price. So with a loan from a bank, I bought this. And the transformation start is as an experiment. If you could make this very outdated typology reasonable to live. This is how it is when I arrived. It was a small street with altogether around 15 units of shop houses, and only 30% of them were in use, mostly abandoned. It was a pity because it's in a very nice area, quiet, but close to the main transportation. You don't need to really use a car to live there. You can walk 10 minutes to the train station, which is the key transportation in Bangkok if you don't want to drive. And what we did is, first of all, as I mentioned, nobody shops anymore from the ground level. We free the ground level as a parking space, and then so that the accessibility would be possible for each level independently. And then also with the tendency of getting flood all the time, not to have any crucial function on the ground level would be safe. And then we knock off all the front and the back walls to get maximum sunlight, because as I lived there for almost 2 years, I realized that people makes a lot of rooms, and the interior space was quite dark and impossible to live. So we knock off the walls to have the sunlight, and then every single level was arranged as live-in studio, we call it, like a place where people could live and work together, as the original idea of a shop house would be. And then a crucial element that I tried to make was to extend the front and the back of the building as a kind of outdoor room, because living in this kind of place, usually you always close the window and you put, as Glenn just mentioned, air conditioning on all the day. And because it was impossible to open the windows, because when you open, it's too much exposed, and people, so people just keep closing the window. So we extend this front and back space as a living, as an opportunity to be able to live outdoor a little bit. And if the weather is good enough, you can open completely so that you get natural ventilation finally, which is not very easy in a density of Bangkok. But actually, it works. It magically works that when you really open front and back, simply when, as we learned in architecture school in the first year, the cross ventilation, it's just a magic, really. And I was impressed. And this is how we just add the steel structure and the screen to the building. Using this very, again, outdated material, simple ventilation block. We shot this partly because it was so cheap. One block would be around 50 cents of US dollar. So it was so very cheap. And by then, it was very uncool. No architects would use this. It's considered very too normal architecture. And this is how it looks. We clad the facade with different types of concrete blocks. These concrete blocks are very crucial because, of course, first of all, it acts as a screen for privacy instead of curtain. And also it was a kind of shading device because since we free all the wall with glass window, we need a screen not to get too strong sunlight, more like a diffuse sunlight. And in a place like Bangkok, you would need this kind of system as a security because thieves could break in also. Usually people would use this metal bar to protect the windows, and it looked like jail, so we don't want to live in a place that looked like jail. That's how we did. And this is the interior space that through the light through the blocks. And this is our office. We we use the 4th floor as our space. That was a long time ago, so it's still very neat. And this is where I live on the 5th floor. So I live and work in the same place. And this is the extension space that I call it a breathing space. It's an outdoor room where we can put a lot of plants. We use this for material testing in the sunlight. Sometimes people just go out in this space to smoke or to speak on phone, not to disturb other people living in the office. So this space proved to be quite efficient. On the back, we put condensing unit. We dry the clothes and so on. So after we finished the building, I made a calculation of the financial side. The cost of buying the building plus the transformation per square meter, it's less than half of a price of a newly built building in the same area if you want to buy a condo. So it proves to be reasonable in the term of investment, in the term of financial, if you want to live in the city. We moved in there late 2009. It was almost 10 years. And we rent partly of the space to our friend's company. And what we didn't expect was our neighbors. They started to see this newly transformation, and they were curious, so they asked us to see inside the building. They asked how we did, and we share. And throughout this almost 10 years, the whole street started to get completely renewed. One unit after another, these shop houses got transformation or renovation in different levels, and now it is 100% occupied. The business is running, people living there. And but the drawback side was that I live in a street where construction was going on for almost 10 years, so that's not easy sometimes. And a few years ago, all the neighborhoods got together, 12 units of the shop houses, and we even put the money to repair the street and the drainage system. This is the private street. There's a common property of the whole shop house in this area. So we put the money together, repair everything. So now it looks much nicer. We could say that with our very tiny initiative, we generate a kind of small area of urban revitalization without intention. It was just out of partly necessity, part of curiosity, that how we can do with this kind of shop houses. And soon after, we got another opportunity because a client saw that we could do this in the same area of our building, 10 minutes walk away. We got another opportunity to transform another shop house. This time, we try to go much further, playing with this we call breathing space, extending bigger, more transparent, and growing into also the rooftop, as you can see from the section. The front and the backs could be completely open. Even it is a toilet, after you use it, you can close it again. And then also the program of the building changed from partly residential and commercial to also the same, but then different organization. Gallery on the first 2 floors, and 3 independent apartments on the upper level with the rooftop. And this time I wanted to play more with the idea of using plant as more like an architectural element, not decorations. We found this small security booths nearby, and the guy was using really the plants to cover his security booths out under the sun. And I was very impressed by this random arrangement and with very unmanicured kind of plants, and with most of them are edibles, even better. So we decided to copy him, basically. And the first layer of the facade was this prefabricated metal fence you can find anywhere. We clad the building, and hoping that throughout the years, the plants would work out another layer to give the building more pleasant space and atmosphere. So this was the building that was completed. Like the photo was taken 6 months after it was completed. So days and nights, the details, as any architects would be, we obsessed with how it works. And the entrance that we used, of course, planned as a wall, not the real wall. And how it works with the front and the back of the building, with very simple pots and that we can house all this plant. When you open completely, the glass doors, the space of the whole level become one space. Interior, exterior, hard to say, and it's more like open platform. And actually, it is originally in a tropical place like Thailand. This is how we live, an open, completely open platform with a big roof. And this is one of the apartment units. It is also run as an Airbnb. If you are interested in and happen to be in Bangkok, I can give some recommendation. And this is the toilet that is a bit controversial. People all bit complain that it could be completely open, but when you take a shower, you can close actually. And this is the rooftop when at the beginning the plants are not yet growing. This is last week. Now the plants are going a little bit wild, and the space became even more pleasant and much cooler. Right after our first transformation was completed, we got a lot of publication unexpectedly again. And people started to call, asking for advices if we can tell them how to do. Because actually it's a common building in Thailand, this kind of shop house. And some even request for a visit. They want to understand how it works. And we were pretty much open for all this. And we gave them even the details of the financial side of the building. So little by little, shop house transformation is very common nowadays in Bangkok and in Thailand, with different programs, different activities. But 12 years ago, nobody would imagine to do this. If you Google in Thai shop house transformation, shop house renovation, this would be the result you got. As you get is like many of them, and with different degree, from a very basic DIY level until very sophisticated design building with awards winning kind of degree. And we cannot say that we are the first one who did the shop house transformation. Before us, people did. But I think we are perhaps the first one that made it sexy enough for people to imagine if they want to do the same with their building, they could do, and without much of financial investment to improve and to reutilize their space. As many others self-initiative action, it is always a limit you reach. We've done transformation for 1, 2, 3 units, some of them, and now we started to think if we can do more, because now we have this train system under construction in the whole city, a big network. And these trains are going to the suburb. All these suburbs are filled with, again, unutilized or abandoned shop houses. Recently, we started to work together with a group of urban planners, trying to imagine a model to transform these shop houses with a more complex issue of ownership and financial models. I'm not good at that, so these urban planners have to figure out. But what we could supply is the ideas of the physical space, how it would be dealing with the regulations, the organization of living and working together, the possible layout of the planning arrangement, how we clad the wall, how we clad the facades. So that was the attempt, but it's just starting. So we see if this could go much further. Okay, I think I'm half of my time. more or less. At some point, we realized that half of the project we have been doing is a transformation for some unknown reason. Even this, Andrew mentioned, my Contemporary Art Museum in Chiang Mai is the biggest public project we ever done. Was also a transformation from an abandoned warehouse into a contemporary art museum. But I'm not going to talk about it today. But what I would like to talk is the most painful moment during any building transformation. Some of you might have an experience that when you have to tear down all these walls, mainly bricks and concrete, mountains of them coming out. And we don't know exactly where they go, because usually there's trucks and the trucks coming and taking all this debris away. Imagine the building that we've been doing transformation are like 20, 30, 40 years old. We had to already knock them down partly. Given the speed of changes we have now in our contemporary living, the program, the technology, everything, I assume that we will have to make this kind of transformation even more often, because things change very fast. The interior space that you do for today, it would last only a few years maybe in some of the cases. And I start to wonder if we have to do more like this. It's a heartbreaking kind of scene for me. And so it leads us to another observation and partly experiment. We call it living lightly. This is a scene of a street in Bangkok during a political demonstration about 6 years ago. It is in one of the most important intersections in the city. But to me, if you look closely, it looks more like a market, not really a demonstration. People just having fun, selling and shopping. And sometimes it even became a concert and a massage parlor. All these are out in the urban space, completely almost outdoor. Of course, when the sun is not too strong. The most fascinating was this one for me. I had to walk through this demonstration very often because it was next to the university where I teach. So they block all the street, the car couldn't go in, so you have to walk through. This was how people camping there for months. And with very fragile mosquito nets on the brutal street of Bangkok, it was very fascinating that this is perhaps the minimum condition of living in the climate. We are lucky enough to be in the climate that is never too cold, it's mostly too hot. But if you have a good enough roof, you can survive with that. And this is even more like a living room next to that setting. So out of this, we try to bring the quality of this like material that they are very adaptive into an actual building, mostly very literal, with some experiment with materials and program. We are lucky enough again to have a chance to design a market. The job got to us, very unknown architect, because no other architects in Thailand would like to do a market. It's considered very uncool, but we thought it was interesting. So we had a chance to explore the idea of how this market works, different selling stall, different time of occupation in the space, different permanency, and all that. So you can see that there is a very permanent structure and very temporary structure. They work together. The roof, which is the most permanent structure that we made, is for like monthly rent vendors, and what we provide is a shade with enough natural light and ventilation. And also there are different types of stall with they work on daily rent, or even one day they have few shifts. So they change all the time. So that's allow us to understand a minimum built environment that would be a requirement for this kind of activity. Also, we are known for doing strange things. This is a shade, basically a tent, a gigantic tent. We designed for a music festival that require very high degree of sustainability. It has to be zero waste. So it's the steel structure with the fabric covering. We try to use the the most transparent fabric ever to get the shades, but it works because the thickness of the waffle structure actually shades the space, while at the same time you can see through the sky, and the structure itself doesn't need to be very strong because it's the wind could go through. This is how it looks in the setting, and this is the overall, and it was dismantled and reassembled in different places all over Thailand. Another example of how we experiment with this material was this early this year was the Bangkok Design Week. We made a structure that cover a small street where people usually go out for lunch on the street, and hoping that every year they would replace the roof, this very light fabric, into something else, allowing other designer or artists to work on. So this is just more or less the condition. It's just to create the shades, if you could see. That was more like a very temporary base. It's like few days, 1 week or something. But we work more on trying to make this really a place where people could live. How does it work? I just push. Okay. This is the last project I would like to share with you. It's called Lighthouse. It's commissioned by commissioned by Chicago Architecture Biennial in 2015.
สิทธิประสิทธิเมมหาลาโภตัตติยัมปิพระพิฆเนศวรสิทธิประสิทธิเมมหาลาโภ
Oh, it is a teaser of 12 minutes film, so it is part of this. What is the lighthouse? It is semi-permanent or semi-temporary, it depends on where you look at. We intended to have this house as a house for a young professional living in a tropical metropolis, in this case, Bangkok. These people, they cannot afford to live in a normal apartment. Their salary would be too low. Or if they could afford, the space would be quite in a very miserable condition. We imagine that this would be a place for them to stay during their early career, 1 year, half a year, or some months. If they earn more money, they can move out if they want. And, because we have these many abandoned structures, some were not ever completed since the crash of 1997. Some are abandoned because the structure, the facility were outdated, and it would take a huge amount of money to refurbish. And these buildings already have water and electricity running. We imagine that this house could be placed in this empty structure. Of course, it's already under the roof. And could be many of them together. And finally, it could become a community. This is what we dream. And what we use as a material is this metal grid panel. It's usually used for street vendors. So you can buy this piece very, very cheap and very easy to assemble. And the size of the house, okay, it's clear. The size of the house is 240 by 480, 2 meters high. It can be fit within one parking space. And it would take around 4 or 5 hours to set up with 2 people. It costs around $1,200 per one unit. And everything could be dismantled and put in one pickup truck easily. And apart from the metal grid panel that we use as the main structure, we wrap the house with a mosquito net so that mosquito cannot destroy you. And the bed and the changing room are divided by different types of curtain for more privacy. And we found an abandoned 20-story hotel in the heart of Bangkok. Next to it, there is a parking structure that serves the hotel. This is very center, close to subway station even. And the parking structure was partly used. They rented the space to people in the neighborhood. So we set up our 2 prototype houses in the parking for a week. And we have 2 people living there. And it was a fun experiment for some days. And we made a film out of this living, almost a documentary as a participation for the biennial in Chicago. And the film was also shown at the exhibition Occupy at IMIT Design Hub a few years ago. Thank you. No, not yet. Thank you for showing the film. So I'm about to finish. This is during the day, and some details, some close-up, and the structure could become a shelf, furniture, and this is the interior space. It's almost like a normal house, I believe. And we did a second prototype again last year at the ground level, at the garage of our building as a part of Bangkok Design Festival, improving many details and planning. During the day, it was an exhibition open to public. And during the night, you can rent it through Airbnb. And actually, few people did. And it was great fun as a hostel. And this is how it was. We had a small party at the opening. A lot of people came by to visit and having a discussion because they come and they make comments, and it was very interesting. The interior space, the interior space 2. And last year in summer, we did a 3rd prototype, this time half size for Eshiko Sumari Triennale in Japan, because the theme of the exhibition was about small space living, but we try to utilize the exterior more, and this is how it looks. During this experiment with the 3 prototypes, people often ask us if we think that this lighthouse is a real house or just a serious toy. What about privacy? It is strong enough? Can people really live there? It is interesting to share with you that most of the people who ask these questions are architects. The interesting part would be when normal people encounter this kind of situation, the non-architect. When I say normal people, I mean non-architect. We are not normal, perhaps. Anyway, they would ask more on practical questions like, if we add more curtain, you think it's okay? And if we do this, that is okay, how much? And they didn't think that this is too strange. They would accept it as, I could put this in my house, that I don't need to build a very serious structure and so on. So that was interesting for us to listen. Of course, we think this is a real house, but we cannot be for sure. I believe that people will decide if it makes sense. They will, if they like it, if they want to live in this kind of space. And what we could do the most is to inspire, to give them some ideas, and sometimes to learn from their interaction. And but for sure, what we strongly believe is that our built environment needs to be more adaptive to the changes that we are facing now with great uncertainties. And of course, it has to be very much of environmental concern as the very first priority. Thank you very much.